Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 75, three-quarters of the way to 100, Omar. So today, number 75, dedicated to, no, John, I'm not going to go Doug Betters or Manny Fernandez, even though those are the two best players to wear 75. I'm going to go more obscure with some trivia notes. So do we remember in the game against the Chargers on Sunday, the Dolphins, after a great first drive, fumbled the ball at the 6-yard line? The guy who recovered the fumble for the Chargers was a defensive lineman named Nick Williams, who, lo and behold, played 5 games for the Dolphins in 2016, wearing number 75. How about that? The other one, another former in the 75, holds a page, one of the weirdest episodes in Dolphin history. Manuel Wright, defensive tackle.
The guy Saban made cry.
Yeah, caught on camera crying, being told by Nick Saban to get the hell off the practice field after he berated him, and that was his reaction. He was a 5th-round supplemental draft pick. I did find out something in looking him up today that I did not know, that he won a Super Bowl ring with the New York Giants later on. How about that?
All right, look at that.
How about that?
Curious how many years he played in the league. He just didn't play for the Miami Dolphins.
No, he wound up, it's not a whole lot. He had weight issues at further stops. I think Buffalo may have tried him for a little bit, and then the Giants picked him up. But I believe he was part of that Super Bowl team, if I read correctly, in 2007. That part I saw, researched, looked at when I looked him up. I did not know that off the top of my head. So today is Wednesday, September 13th, which means first injury report day of the week. And for the Dolphins, there was some good news on the injury front, and there was some potentially troublesome news. I'll let you go ahead and then deliver the good news.
The good news is Teron Armstead practiced. He worked. We were not allowed to see the portions of the team periods of practice, so I don't know if he participated in team periods, but I watched him move during the positional drills. This looks like a guy who's not limping around anymore. I suspect and believe, I think it's mostly just game conditioning. Can he play 50 snaps in an NFL game? Teron has got to work his way up there. I counted, and I believe that he's participated in 4 11-on-11 periods of practice during all of training camp, and not heavy participation. If he had half a dozen snaps on that day during the team periods, that would be a heavy load for him. Mike McDaniel talked about it, and he basically said, this is a situation where Teron is going to tell you that he wants to play, but how much do I feel comfortable? And would he be compensating and not playing with the proper technique and not playing with the proper coaching points? And, would that be hurting his teammates? But they certainly know that they need him from a leadership standpoint. And Mike McDaniel hinted that, that's where depth benefits you. And as I've written in an alldolphins.com column, I don't think Dolphins have had a better swing tackle or backup tackle on the roster in at least 15 years in Kendall Lamb. I think he's starter material. He's definitely showed you what he can do in the season opening game. And I think you roll that dice at least one more week, if not 2. But then again, Teron Armstead's your Pro Bowl player. Maybe he does something in practice that makes Mike McDaniel second guess his stance.
Yeah, and the one thing Kendall Lamb did with his overall very good performance against the Chargers is he gave Mike McDaniel the comfort level to be like, okay, Teron, you look like you could play. Let's not chance it. Take your time. Whereas had Kendall Lamb struggled against the Chargers, it would have been like, okay, Teron, when can you get back? So that was encouraging, and officially was listed as limited on the practice report, which is not surprising. Elijah Campbell also was back at practice for the first time since he got hurt in the preseason finale against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also limited tight end Julian Hill with the ankle injury. He did not play against the Chargers. However, he was listed as questionable in the final injury report. And even though Mike McDaniel wasn't asked, I'm not 100% ready to say that it was injury related as opposed to a personnel decision.
He is injured, though. I remember watching him the week after the Jacksonville game.
No. I know that, and he's on the injury report. But I'm saying he was questionable on Friday, So to me, it's also possible because if you remember the snap count, Durham Smythe played every snap. Tyler Croft played 2. So it wasn't like they were needing a whole lot of tight ends on that.
Listen, if you listen to Tua Tagovailoa and this coaching staff, Durham Smythe is a very important and valuable asset. I talked to Durham today. Tua said basically, and this is something that I didn't know, that him and Alec Ingold, they both have served purposes like the quarterback in terms of fixing issues that defenses present. Let's say if there's an overload blitz, where those two have to fix and they play off each other. And that's really the base defense, the base offense for the Miami Dolphins. And it's such a throwback that will make teams reconsider or readjust how they attack things, in terms of if you have a fullback and a tight end as your base offense and not go 3 receiver set, not go 4 receiver set, which is today's football. And it's going to challenge, you need some serious linebackers. You're in your base defense. The teams don't even play anymore. You need a weak side and a strong side linebacker. Who has a strong side linebacker in the NFL?
No, and those are guys who because they're both very dependable pass catchers and can block, again, offer a lot of versatility for that offense. And that's on top of having to deal with the 2 road runners on the outside with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Quickly, the rest of the injury report for the Dolphins is Jalen Waddle, oblique, also limited. We'll come back to him in a second. Devon Achane, shoulder, full. The last 4 guys were all full participants. Devon Achane, shoulder. Xavier Howard, thumb. Brandon Jones with the knee. Connor Williams with the knee. Jalen Waddle. Yeah. I don't know if it's this one or this one. Jalen Waddle. Mike McDaniel had told the media that he's dealing with some discomfort and some pain. So, and again, also last Wednesday at this time, he also was on the injury report, limited. And then he was a full participant Thursday and Friday and wound up playing. So I don't think there's any cause for concern about his availability for the game at this particular time. Am I right?
Yeah, no, not really. More of a factor to me is the Patriots injury report.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. It's crazy.
I'll allow you to do so.
Oh, I mean, like, damn. Okay. They had 2 guys not practicing on Wednesday. Starting left tackle Trent Brown, concussion. Rookie guard City So, concussion as well. He started at right guard against the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday because their projected starting right guard, Mike Onenwu, missed the game because of an ankle injury, and Onenwu was limited today. Their starting left guard, Cole Strange, also didn't play against the Eagles, limited today because of a knee injury. Oh, and their starting center, David Andrews, very good player, David Andrews, limited because of a hamstring injury.
That's what happens when you play a physical, bruising Philadelphia Eagles defensive line. And the question is, will it have ramifications taking you onto Sunday night's game against the Dolphins? And, oh, boy, that would shift the line a lot if New England's offensive line doesn't get healthier. That would shift the line a ton.
And this is where...
Code word, bet Dolphins. No.
And this is where no pressure. That Dolphin front 7 has to dominate this game. It did not have a good game against the Chargers. You're going against the New England Patriots offensive line, which is banged up, and that's putting it mildly. You better damn sure dominate that line of scrimmage.
Yeah. We talked to David Long today, and and amongst a number of guys. And he talked about basically, consistencies of things that I've got to improve on. This is a new scheme. We're all going through growing pains right now, trying to get adjusted to that scheme. And, even Christian Wilkins talked about it. This isn't up to their standard. I mean, and reality is you shouldn't be the number 3 running defense last year. Bring most of your pieces back with the exception of Landon Roberts. And I warned people, Landon Roberts is not going to be an easy player to replace just because of how he brings that thunder. I don't know. Obviously they need a bigger sample size, but Mike McDaniel did talk today, and it's about guys playing on a string. This isn't what he said, but this is what other coaches have said. Everybody's attached to everybody in terms of the defense. So when you have guys and Dominican suing it, which is basically,
Wow.
well,
Go ahead, explain.
I said it. I
No,
said
no,
it.
you're not wrong.
You're not wrong. You have guys freestyling to try to make a play or not doing what their responsibility is. The whole unit doesn't play on the court. And while that might work for some guys like a Junior Seau, where he's basically like, I'm going to do this, y'all figure it out. Not everybody is of that caliber. And it showed. It showed against the Chargers, even though the Chargers have been really working to beef up their run game, and Austin Eckler is no slouch. You shouldn't be giving up 200 and what is it, 240?
34.
Yeah. That's a ridiculous total. And obviously they're gonna come back down. But the question is how soon, and what will David Long's role be? I think that, everybody had to play better. One thing that Jalen Phillips said that I found very interesting was and I didn't think about this until he said it. The Chargers were doing a lot of play action, and that doesn't necessarily allow you to pin your ears back. And when you have success running the ball, you don't put yourself in good situations to go hunt the quarterback on third downs. And it just really, they got to do better on first and second downs, which isn't a shock. They got to do better stopping the run to put themselves in position to create those opportunities, whether it be pass rushing pressures or turnovers that Vic Fangio's defense is known for.
Yeah, because if it's 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 4, the playbook is kind of wide open for the offense. It's not necessarily a pass, because I remember one play where in rewatching it, it was very noticeable that Jalen Phillips' pressure was a big impact on the play, and it was I believe it's 3rd and goal. Or 3rd and 4 from the 5-yard line on the Chargers' next to last drive, where they had to settle for a field goal, which kept the Dolphins behind by only 4. And on that 3rd down is very clearly not a passing situation, and you saw Phillips go straight after Herbert and wound up eventually getting to him and forcing the throw. And there was nobody open, incomplete, field goal. Dolphins come back and win. So yeah, without question, the Dolphins have to do better. I didn't notice a whole lot of instances where it looked to me like a guy was out of position trying to do too much. I did notice a lot of times where guys were getting beaten cleanly on blocks, and sometimes not necessarily like double teams. I saw.
Say the names.
I saw Christian one time get completely pushed back, more than one time actually, completely handled and pushed out of the way by the.
We're not going P-foot around it now.
No. It was Wilkins that I noticed, because it kind of surprised me, and I don't remember if it was Zion Johnson or Salyer, the other guard who was doing it, but it kind of it surprised me, because I don't recall seeing a whole lot of that happening with Wilkins last year.
You know, it's funny. I used to, back in the day, many years ago, put out clips of plays like that I saw that were just either very, very positive, favorable, or just like, whoa, this is, and I saw that play too, and I was like, ooh, this don't look like an $18 million player right here. But the reason why I stopped putting out plays on social media.
Oh, I might have an idea, but go ahead.
Oh my God, the players get so in their feelings about it and sensitive.
Fans wouldn't get in their feelings also?
No. This was more players. This is not fans. I think fans want a clear and direct understanding. People cutting up video footage is taken off.
Yeah.
When I did it many years ago, nobody was really doing it. Now it's taken off, and it's a cottage industry, and people are killing it on YouTube, and props to them. And I'm glad that they can do those things. But the problem that I have is you're not going to walk into that locker room and having just called out, and not, it's one thing when your coaches call you out and put that film up there and your teammates are looking at it. But then when the masses see it and you getting owned by no-name offensive guard, and here you are asking for X and X amount of money, it's not good. Now, all of those things are one play.
Right.
And you got to get it corrected. but you can't play to that standard and call yourself a Vic Fangio defense. It just ain't gonna work. And knowing that man's blunt honesty level and take no you know what attitude, man, I don't know how long it's gonna be before we see Akeem Hicks up in here. Just
that should happen regardless. I mean, no offense to Brandon Peely, he means a rookie free agent. There should be somebody with more experience backing up the defensive lineman. And you said the key phrase a little while ago, very small sample size. It's one game.
One game against a very good back and a team that's put a lot of new team with a new play caller, new offensive coordinator, and is putting a lot of effort and energy into the run game.
And good offensive line
and got back their offensive line. So I mean, we could watch them put up, limit the Patriots to 70 yards next week. So I'm not a prisoner of the moment, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen next. I mean, even Tua said, one game, it's not a big enough sample size. You're not going to be able to identify anything unless team's not going to Super Bowl in one game and the season's not wrecked after one game.
All right.
Tua said today, he was just like, if the defense didn't bail us out, we could be here talking about a loss. And that's so true. That's so very true. Jason Sanders missing that field goal. If Justin Herbert, I'm not going to say anything.
Extra point. No, the defense stepped up at the right moment. I don't know if I'd say the defense bailed out the Dolphins offense, because if it wasn't for the offense, this is not a game that in any way, shape, or form anybody looks at it and goes, oh, the defense won that game. No. The defense, one could say the defense.
Sealed it.
Sorry?
They sealed the game.
Yes, they finally showed up and made a stop. I mean, let's call it the way it is. I mean, they finally showed up and made a stop. And props to Vic Fangio for, I don't know if the word realize is the right word, but exactly, like, okay, you know what?
Yeah, you're not going to play. Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I hate when you have an elite quarterback on the other side and the team's got to go 40 yards to get into field goal territory to win the game, and you're playing prevent defense. Like, what the hell are you doing that for?
Yeah,
like
preventing you from winning. That's the definition of the prevent defense. But this is where, though, what's the number?
Just so you know, I would never play prevent defense ever, under any condition.
If you're up by 20 with 2 minutes left, I say again. But what's the number one like rule of the Vic Fangio or principle of the Vic Fangio defense more than anything else, perhaps, is keep everything in front of you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that would lead for, if teams are going to have a success moving the ball against you, generally speaking, it's going to be long, time-consuming drives. If you notice, the Chargers won the battle of time of possession. But in this particular case, there was more than enough time for the Chargers to move down the field methodically had the Dolphins sat back. So Fangio was smart enough to recognize, no, I'm going to attack. And they attacked and threw blitzes at the Chargers that they couldn't handle. Ball game. I want to go back to the Patriots injury report because it includes a familiar name. Our good friend Devontae Parker was back at practice. I know.
Why are we talking about that? Because when is Devontae Parker not going to be on the injury report? Tell me
when. I'm pointing out the fact that he was limited. He didn't play against the Eagles on Sunday. He was limited. I'm hoping to see him because I'm weird that way. I'm weird in a lot of ways, but in this way, I like going up against former Dolphin players. Sorry. Like, for example, I'm looking forward to the Dolphins facing Ryan Tannehill in that Monday night game, even though if he plays the way he played Sunday, he's going to be out of the lineup in 2 weeks.
Ryan Tannehill's a survivor. Never underestimate his ability.
Oh, that's true. But I mean, booty cheeks is did I say that correctly?
You did.
It was booty cheeks. It was booty cheeks.
Yeah, but Ryan is a survivor. He's going to come back and he's going to do whatever it takes to make sure he gets another $20 million a year job. That's just who he is.
Oh, if he pulls that off, I mean, the tip of the hat to him.
Yeah. I did want to talk about Tua, who was named the AFC Player of the Week. No surprise. No surprise to anybody. He sort of came along in terms of attitude and personality as if he's saying, like, you guys I couldn't do this without my teammates, and you guys are really overstating what I was able to accomplish and success. He downplayed a lot of things today, except for the fact that he left Teron Armstead stranded on the street coming to work today after his car shut down. After his car basically shut down on him on the way to work. Tua said he passed him and he was realized, hey, that's Teron Armstead. And then he
Don't I know that guy?
Yeah, that he couldn't come, or he didn't know his car. Number one, Tua, you got to know your offensive lineman's car. He's kind of the most important. It's like not knowing Tariq's car. I bet you know Tariq's car, Tua. Like let's not be disrespectful to the offensive lineman here. Now, if Teron has multiple cars, I apologize. But
it's also more likely that Tyreek has made sure that Tua and every other one of his teammates know what car he's driving, whereas Teron is a little bit more subdued and mellow, may not be.
Teron is flashy too. I think Teron's got a flashy car. I'm pretty sure Teron's I'm pretty sure I've seen a Bentley in a Teron Armstead video, in a T-Stead video. So don't underestimate Teron. I'm sure he can't fit in the Lambo, but he's probably got something sporty.
Not sure. I'd be very curious about it. If he had like a big family SUV, luxury SUV type thing, I wouldn't be shocked.
Of course, he's an offensive lineman. Who doesn't have a big family SUV?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But he doesn't have like a flashy sports car like Tyree, I would imagine has.
It's probably pimped out. I mean, but anyway,
we digress.
But Tua really, he downplayed the Mac Jones situation, as you actually, he brought it up. He's like Bama versus Bama.
Okay.
And and it's Mac Jones' second week of Bama versus Bama, considering he had to go against Jalen Hurts last week. I'm always find it odd that they still consider Jalen Hurts Bama, because he's really Oklahoma. That's where he graduated from. So does he claim
he started at Bama? Can you claim
get it, but do you get to claim two schools when you transfer? I mean, I'm sure Bama is always going to take credit for him because he's an MVP candidate quarterback.
Yeah, it's like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is not Ohio State Joe Burrow. I mean,
thank you.
But here's the difference, though: is Jalen Hurts he was a starter for a little bit at Bama. He was. I mean, you
don't get to claim two schools. Who claims you? Alabama or Ohio or Oklahoma?
Like Justin Fields, where did he start? Was it Georgia he started and transferred to Ohio State?
Yes, that is correct. Yes. See, you don't get to claim two schools. What are we doing here? But anyway, it is, he talked about it. And one thing that I was very based off yesterday's podcast, and I found quite interesting. We had Tom Curran on yesterday's podcast, Behind Enemy Lines.
Really? What did he say? What did he say?
If you haven't already, check that episode out. And it's funny because our core audience was like, basically, we weren't hard enough on him and challenged him. One, I'd like to say, everybody has a right to their personal opinion about different things. And please do understand that even as media members, just like Tom Curran has probably seen Tua in limited action, maybe when he's played the Patriots, when he's been on national TV, when they've got crossover games, or maybe you study, like I, for instance, will study Mac Jones versus the Jets or versus, or his most recent games. I'll take a look at one or two games just to see their style or see their approach. Like I'll look at the Eagles. You don't get a big body sample of who Tua is if you're just on the other side of this situation. Like, I'm sure I don't have a big body sample of who Mac Jones is, but lo and behold, for the last 2 years, Mac Jones has a higher completion percentage than Tua Tagovailoa. And the biggest issue that fans have is, oh, you said he's more accurate than Tua. You're completely discredited. Well, the numbers say he's more accurate than Tua. So
the completion percentage say, because somebody made the point, and this is true. Tua throws a ball down the field a lot more than Mac Jones. Mac Jones throws a lot of passes. But here's the point, I'll let you finish. And I apologize for that. I wanted to chime in here quickly. Number one, for those who say we never push back, both Omar and I were like making like all sorts of faces.
I said stuff.
Well, and faces. And the other
behind
deal
enemy
too
lines is our guests' opportunity to tell us and educate us about the team, and we're asking questions, and it creates more of a blueprint of who the opponent is. And I thought Tom did a phenomenal job educating us on Bill Belichick, educating us on what the offensive coordinator situation is there in New England. We talked about Mike Gesicki. We talked about Devontae Parker. We talked about the receiving corps. We talked about the defense. Hell, we even talked about Raekwon McMillan. He's on injury report.
injured reserve. Yeah.
Yeah, injury reserve. So, but anyway, but my point is, yeah, you can disagree with it, but there's no room to be disrespectful. And I think that's part of the problem that I have with today's society and today's media, blog sphere and podcasting. People don't want to listen to anybody but people who agree with them. And I absolutely despise that. Like, you want somebody to tell you that your poop smells like sunshine and potpourri. Okay, that's not always the case. And I know I'm certainly not going to do it. And I know poop is not going to do it. Poop.
Yeah,
potpourri.
trust me, I was going to make a point about it, Rude. No, but here, and for those who watch this show regularly, Omar and I will go at each other like that. We're also the two co-hosts here. It's not the same thing as having a guest on, who's doing us a favor by appearing on the show to get his thoughts on the Dolphins opponent. And he is entitled to his opinion, no matter how ridiculous anybody might think it is. It's an opinion. If he spews out a fact and says, like, Mac Jones has this record when he doesn't have that record, yeah, we'll correct him. Okay, but an opinion saying Mac Jones is more accurate than Tua Tagovailoa, there's no like black and white indisputable measure for that.
I'm pretty sure probably about 60% of Patriots fans, if not more, would sit there and tell you that they prefer to have Mac Jones over Tua. And Tua and on can get all in their feelings about it as much as they want, but that's just the reality of it because that's part of fanhood. Now, who would I want? There's not a doubt in my mind. And who would Jalen Waddle want? Even though he said that Mac Jones was a better quarterback during the draft process. He said it.
Context. He said that at a time when Tua already was in the NFL and he was trying to look out for his other dude.
I know why he said it.
Okay.
I know why he said it. He still said it. So, and I get it, but don't sit there and beat up on Tom, even though, and just for, Tom saw that it was blowing up. He was just like, he's a veteran of the game. He's like, yeah, mute, I'm moving on. Like, people gotta understand, there's power in the mute. Unfortunately, no, he's taking block away. Elon's taking block away. But thankfully, we'll still be able to mute conversations that we don't want to be part of.
No, without question. And again, neither Omar nor I agreed with what he was saying. We were just being respectful. And again, and Omar kind of like shot back at him a little bit, but more than anything else, our facial expressions. It's like, okay, it was very clear to Tom at that point. I would hope it was very clear to Tom that we weren't on board with what he was saying. He still has a right to say.
He cares.
No,
and he's a right. He had a right. He gave you evidence of a game that nobody in 2-on can even defend. That Pittsburgh Steelers game. Like, what you gonna say? Nothing.
Oh, correct.
Like, and yeah, he didn't get to see Tua in the last game, but Tua's on fire. Is Tua gonna play like that every single week? Like, do you believe he's gonna play like that every single week?
Quarterback will play like that every single week. No.
Yeah, of course not. So, but anyway, that's just the reality of the situation. But to me, I think part of the biggest issues that I have with this game and part of the biggest challenges, Mike McDaniel, I still won't give him the genius label. He's still got to earn it. I still got to see it over a nice, substantial body of work. Now, if you start the season and finish the season with a top 6 offense, I'll say genius. But you know how you prove that you're a genius? You give Bill Belichick things that he's got to adjust to. What I've always loved and enjoyed, and this is why I'm going to miss not being there in Foxborough, is seeing Bill Belichick on the sideline with his tablet or with his paper, like, looking at this. The game's going on, and he's like this. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see my. He's like
Right,
this,
yeah.
and then he's bringing up his tablet, and he's like this, and he's trying to figure out what the hell is this Wildcat thing? What the hell is this?
We never
coverage?
figured that out. Never figured that out.
No, he was like, no, you have to give him something that's when he's at his worst. When he's got something that he did not game plan for and has to figure out and strategize. You do that, you got a whole quarter. He's completely distracted. And then you got to change it up at halftime and then give him something else. That's the only way, in my opinion, without the benefit of turnovers or special teams assistance, to beat Bill Belichick on a regular basis, especially when they had Tom Brady. Now, what'll it look like nowadays that they got Mac Jones? Who knows?
No, and that matchup, and I know Mike McDaniel kind of like scolded the media a little bit last week for, don't make it about the coaches, it's about the players executing and all that. Well, that's great, except the players are executing a game plan that's put together by the coaches. So sorry. Yeah, I think the coaching matters quite a bit. And like, let's say Mike McDaniel kicked Brandon Staley's ass on Sunday in that department. I can think we can agree on that. What's the Bill Belichick, Mike McDaniel matchup look like in terms of the game plan and what Bill Belichick's going to come up with to combat it? The bigger story right now, and it's on the other side of the ball, that Patriots offensive line, which is a complete nightmare. For them, obviously, and for the Dolphins, it presents all sorts of opportunities. And this is where there will be games. The season opener at Hard Rock Stadium last year, Dolphins won 20-7. And I know Tua had the big fourth down touchdown pass to Jalen Waddle. The old defense won that game. They held the Patriots to 7 points, forced 3 turnovers, including the first touchdown of the season last year. Do you remember who scored it?
Not a clue.
Don't remember who scored the first touchdown of the season for the Dolphins last year. It was Melvin Ingram off of Brandon Jones' blitz that knocked the ball loose from Mac Jones. And then Kader Kohou made his presence felt as a good tackler immediately. In the fourth quarter, they were still protecting a 13-point lead at the time. I think it was still 27. And a wide receiver caught a pass like maybe at the 40-yard line of the Dolphins. And he just smacked him. Ball comes out loose. Dolphins recover the fumble. And I think that was the last threat that the Patriots had. So the Dolphins completely shut down the Patriots offense last year. And then Javon Holland had an interception on the first drive of the season. So what was my point anyway?
I don't know. What to get to my point, what I love about what Bill Belichick does is he forces you to play left-handed. He forces you to he takes away whatever it is. Yeah, I know.
See over here. Go ahead.
You weirdos.
No. By the way, Tua's a lefty also.
No, he's a righty. He just throws left.
He throws a lefty when we play. And
he does everything else right.
For football purposes, he's a lefty.
You're taking ownership for a man who uses his right hand for the majority of things in his life, except for throwing the football.
I do some things right-handed as well, but I throw lefty. So okay. Anyway.
And I'm dying to see what the Bill Belichick strategy is for Tariq. Now, I know it's going to feature a lot of press. Probably a lot of cloud coverage, a lot of safety over the top. But what does that open up for Miami? What does that create? And I'm dying to see what the game plan is, because Bill Belichick for years and years and years has created blueprints for everybody else to attack the Miami Dolphins. Now, I'm not necessarily certain he can do that without Tom Brady there as his muscle, but it'll be interesting to see what can be created by a great defensive mind. And as Mike McDaniel said, Bill Belichick is one of the individuals who helped revolutionize football for this era. So, and this is true. This is facts. He's got the greatest dynasty maybe of all time in football history. Him and Tom Brady. I don't necessarily give him all the credit for it. But no, I'm dying to see what the game plan is. I'm dying to see what the strategy is, and I'm dying to see what the counter is. And that could cement the legacy of Mr. Mike McDaniel in terms of his
week 2. Week 2, we're going to stamp him genius in week 2.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying
it could cement his legacy as a genius.
It could help, not cement. My bad. It could. We start pouring the cement. No water, just pour it down. interesting matchup on the road. Tua talked about it. Don't overstate what we did in week 1. We've got a tough opponent, and it's true. No matter what you expect from the New England Patriots, they will be a tough out because they're usually a well-coached team that always wins in special teams and keeps the game close to the fourth quarter.
They also have a functional offensive coordinator this year, which they didn't have last year, which may have played a role in the Dolphins' success to a certain degree. We should mention Hurricane Lee is out there in the Atlantic Ocean. It's heading in the area of New England. However, based on the latest forecast that I saw, they're going to catch, like, what's the word I'm looking for? The outside of it, possibly on Saturday. They could
You
rain.
suck as a meteorologist.
Thank you very little. The bands, the outer bands on Saturday, bringing a lot of rain. Weather forecast looks very good for Sunday, however. And I think I saw like 9 mile an hour winds, which is
90?
9.
The Hurricanes got 9 mile an hour winds?
Yes.
That's not a hurricane.
On Sunday after the hurricane has passed to make landfall further up. The outer bands, I think I saw on Saturday when the Massachusetts coast would feel the biggest effect of the hurricane would be, I think I saw 33 miles an hour or something, which again is nothing. It's not anywhere near hurricane force. So
run the ball. All righty.
Okay.
Well, let's close it out.
Okay. I'll do the spiel. Okay. We are on YouTube, All Dolphins Podcast. This is episode 75. Like, subscribe, download, share, tell a friend, phone a friend. We're where you get your audio podcast if you prefer to listen to us that way. It's on the Fans First Sports Network under Miami Dolphins Insider, our written content, and there's a lot of it, and it's good stuff. On alldolphins.com, and everything that we do is free because that's how we operate.
Thank you and for support, and we appreciate you.
Absolutely.